Hello, this is Jake Light, gaming lawyer at your service. Right now, we are back again with the Great Ace Tourney. So last we left off, we were totally screwed up. We are dead, absolutely dead. In terms, if let's say if jury says, if the jury says our defendant is guilty, it should be the end of the story. But somehow, there's ex machina stuff that's happening, so we'll use whatever we have at our disposal now, really. Without further ado, let's forget about it. Mr. Naruhodo, are you sure that's the right decision? You heard what the judge and prosecutor said. It's an antiquated procedure. It's history. We barely know our way around the law that's in use today. What hope would we have of pulling it off? Perhaps what we don't know can work to our advantage. Sorry? In any case, there's really only one course of action available to us here. We can't afford to do is what we can't afford to do is allow this trial to end. What we don't know can work to our advantage. You're right, Mr. Sato. I have absolutely no idea what you're saying, but we'll try anyways. Let's bring this antiquated procedure back into the present day. The defense wishes to assert its right to a summation examination, my lord.
Objection!
London is the capital city of the most powerful nation on earth. We have a duty to the world to exemplify the very highest standards of judicial procedure. Summation examinations are an embarrassment that should remain buried.
Objection!
But if it's our right, it's our right. I believe it could prove vital in this trial.
The defense petition is perfectly valid. The court will proceed with the summation examination.
This is madness.
Foreman, are you and the remainder of the jury ready? Well, I'm not, there was no mention of this in the letter I received, you see, so... All members of the jury will be asked to explain on what grounds they have reached their decision.
That sounds really, really fair, right? If they are giving so much power to the jurors, literally, why not we ask them, give the explanation, right? Since really, I mean, fun fact, a jury or the jurors have to discuss amongst themselves, then give a unified decision at the end. Whether it is like if everyone agrees, if everyone agrees the defendant is guilty, then it's put out a vote internally. Nobody would know about it. But if let's say there is a disagreement, then we will see what's the majority vote. Guilty or not guilty. So there's that. So it's not like this stupid thing like everyone has their own opinion, everyone can cast their vote themselves, they don't have to discuss with each other, nothing at all. Prosecutor doesn't have to explain everything. The defendant can't explain themselves as well. Really, this is just a bunch of baloney, really.
Well, on what grounds? You must all justify your decisions and explain why you believe the defendant to be guilty. Well, my lord, you're rather putting us at a spot.
This is most irregular. No mention was made of this before.
I don't really hold with all this justifying lark.
That seems to have thrown the jurors off. It seems none of them have experienced this before. Alright then, the summation examination. A defense procedure no practicing lawyer has attempted for years, is it? Well, just maybe me, a lawyer, really can do this. Might be the opportunity we've been looking for to turn this trial around.
So be it. Then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court hereby calls upon you to state the grounds on which you find the defendant, Magnus McGildet, guilty of this most serious crime.
Okay, so now we are cross-examining jurors now. Yeah, right. Jurors' contentions.
There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him.
I trust the driver. He has an excellent memory, it seems. 4 passengers with fares totaling 20 pence.
He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say. Absolutely brazen.
I have simply typed and collated all the statements made thus far and drawn to the logical conclusion.
You can trust the guilt. Fair fare's our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief.
What? I'm starting to wish I hadn't pushed for this now. Some of the jurors don't seem to have wonderfully formed arguments though, do they? Of course they are. They are not prepared by the prosecutor, not prepared by anyone. They are just bullshitting themselves. Well, let's see what we can do. We need to get these 6 people to change their minds. I have to throw everything I can at them. Not literally. But really I want to do it literally though. And use some very persuasive language. Just a moment, Miss Naruhodo. According to my book, that's not quite how it works. Oh? I thought I was going to have to thaw their icy minds with some heartwarming rhetoric about the defendant. Unfortunately, once the jurors have decided the defendant is guilty, they are unlikely to heed anything the defense says. But then... They've reached their conclusions by their own reasoning, you see. Your pleas will sound like excuses. In fact, it could recoil on you. The more you try to persuade them, the more entrenched they may become. Then what on earth am I supposed to do? Oh dear, I'm just citing what I've read about British law, Mr. Naruhodo. Right, I'm sorry. Do you have any idea how to make this work then? Well, from what I can understand, the key to this procedure is using the jurors' own words to make your own arguments. What do you mean? Well, the 6 members of the jury are randomly selected members of the public. They may appear to present a united front, but the truth is, they are complete strangers. They just happen to find themselves here in the courtroom together. And that's the way to break them down, you mean? Yes, exactly. Totally, man. What's your problem? We must listen very carefully to what each member of the jury says, and see if we can identify any contradictory statements. If we can, we then contrast the statements and pit the corresponding jurors against each other. Why am I telling you all of this? You should have learned this within the 40 days, right? I see. So it's contradictions in what 2 or more jurors say that we're looking for. In a way then, this is similar to a regular cross-examination. Oh, yes, I suppose you're right. Find contradictions in their statements and pit the jurors against one another to break them down. Alright, I might be able to pull this off. No, that's not right. Ooh, I have to pull this off.
Can we start proceedings, Council? I would ask you to take the stand for this. I'm expecting a clear and concise rebuttal.
Yes, my lord. Oh, I'm standing there. This is the first. There was no one else inside. There was no one else inside the carriage at the time, so it has to have been him. I trust the driver here. It seems all the with fares totaling 20 pence. All right. He stuck the chap next to him just like this. Brazen, I must say, absolutely brazen. I can press them, right? I've simply time and calculated all statements made, that's fine. Drawn logical conclusions. Yeah, you can trust it good. Fares is our motto. I keep changing his voice because I have absolutely no idea. Fares our motto. We haven't raised prices above 4 pence for years. Contradiction between these two. Be this. It was contrary inside character test, so it has that. Has this one and this one. Seems perfect with fares totaling 20 pence. If it's 20 pence, it means 5 pence, though, right? 5 pence per person. Objection. Those two statements clearly contradict each other.
They do. Explain yourself, Consul.
Me? Oh dear, what have I said?
I swear all my silver blazers mean a name. I haven't the first idea what they're talking about.
According to the group testimony we've heard so far, there were 4 passengers on the omnibus on the night in question. And according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 20 pence in fare. Quite right. I have those precise details typed neatly here in front of me. And juror number 5 also told us the following. The fare for the omnibus is always 4 pence.
That is a fair and convenient single price, just the way London's carriages should be operated.
But that doesn't add up at all. In fact, it leaves a glaring discrepancy in the facts.
Why, man, why?
4 passengers paying 4 pence each. If you do the multiplication, it would be 16 pence. Exactly. As I said, it doesn't add up. The figures are different. By 4 pence, in fact. Or precisely 1 person's fare.
One person's fare?
Yes, in other words, on the omnibus that night. It's distinctly possible there was another passenger we've heard nothing about.
Good gracious! This can't be right. The coachmen of the guild are good, honest men, what and all. Trustworthiness in our watchword.
The figures your coachman claims most certainly do not add up. Your watchword, good sir, is a fallacy.
I beg your pardon?
Mr. Guildmaster, I think you ought to consider that if this trial were to end now, the news would surely spread all over London. The news that one of your coachmen tried to hide the fact that he lets nefarious characters ride his omnibus.
Alright then, how do I make it so this miserable trial doesn't end,
This is stupid. Well, according to my book here, you simply launch a ball of fire onto the innocent side of the set of skills.
Now hold your horses there, coachman. We were all in agreement. Why do we have to go? Wait till I get my hands on your pepper. Ah, this is all very irritating.
Begging your pardon, sir, I'm going to do the same.
For the love of Mike, what? Not you as well? You son of a...
A penny can be a difference between a smile and a tear, after all. I certainly can't put my trust in someone who doesn't follow my exacting standards in financial matters.
Oh, really?
I, for one, think it's only proper that we hear from the witnesses again. Oh, well done, Miss Naruto, you did it! If we can manage to change 2 more jurors' minds, we can force the trial to continue. 2 more, actually. There is something else that's bothering me about a couple of their assertions. That's where you must strike next. So I need to pit 2 more jurors against each other and show there's another contradiction in their assertions. Exactly, you can do it.
Well, the scales of justice have shifted, but they still weigh heavy on the side of guilt. Counsel, you have the floor again. Continue with your summation examination.
Changing my leaning to innocent, I should like to hear what the slipshod bookkeeper has to say for myself. This one, right? I guess I have to press her. What have you been doing all this time? What have you been doing all this time? There. I should have thought it was obvious. I'm recording everything that takes place as part of these proceedings. And what have you learned from that? For example, at this moment in time, the judge has used his gavel 11 times in total. The prosecution has snorted derisively at your remarks 7 times in total. And I might add, each time you have gawped like a simpleton. Thank you. And what's the point exactly? So anyway, madam, are you able to explain why you think the defendant is guilty? That is a conclusion I have drawn as a result of the copious notes I have typed. Clearly, but I'm asking you to explain why you've drawn that conclusion. Please don't distract me. It makes me extremely hard to concentrate on my note-keeping. This is going nowhere. Okay, I get that's stupid.
This trial has to continue so I can get to the bottom of the corruption. Not guilty, I say.
Scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Oh, sorry. The scoundrel stabbing that poor man on the floor. It beggars belief. Pit. Oops. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. I really think you should stop waving that needle around. You hear what the good coachman said before, did you? The hideous man stabbed the poor fellow just like this. Yes, that is what he said. You're right. McGilded Park is such a lovely little place too. I've always enjoyed resting my legs there while I get on with my knitting. And I had the thought that anyone who donated such a delightful place must be a fine fellow indeed. I suppose I was wrong. Whoever would have thought he was a miserable murdering moneylender with not a scrap of remorse? Oh, help. Yes, sure can be that he's guilty now. Old lady certainly seems to know her mind, doesn't she? I need to pit. Yeah, so we just need to find 2 jurors. Let me skip this part. I know what to do now. I need to pit. Oh no. Need to be pit. Alright. Well, I took the liberty of doing some missions in case you happen to find yourself in such a situation. Not right now. It's okay. I don't need tips. If I have to rely on advice right now, but how will I get on later? No, I need to work this out for myself now. Is that perhaps what you were just thinking? How did you know? You mind reading? Well, that sort of attitude is most admirable, Mr. Naruto. I know what I have to do. Let's listen to those assertions one more time. Right. Now this guy. This one. This is this one. This one and this one. Pit them. Those two statements are completely contradictory.
What? Explain, Counsel. Post haste.
Oh dearie me, I was only knitting a jumper for my other half. What is all this claptrap? What does contradictory even mean, I ask you? We've heard from more than one witness that they allegedly saw the actual moment when the defendant stabbed the victim. Now, out of curiosity, juror number 3.
What? Can't you see what I'm busy here?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim? What sort of motion was it?
Ha! Want to test me, do you? It was like this. Stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up.
Just like the prime banker said.
Yes, that was Mr. Fairplay's testimony. Quite true.
Now then, juror number 6.
Oh, is that me? It is it? What can I do for you, young man?
How would you say the defendant stabbed the victim, madam?
Oh, well, dear, as far as I understand it, it was like this. He stabbed the poor man after he had collapsed off on the floor. The coachman said so.
Now don't move. Don't move. Take a look at these two jurors. He stuck the fellow next to him without even getting up. And he stabbed the poor man after he collapsed on the floor.
Well, I never. They're stabbing in totally different directions. What?
Bless me, stitches, what a mother.
What this tells us, ladies and gentlemen, is they are both really wrong, and this trial is totally unfair, irregular. It should be dismissed. Is that there's a strong possibility of one of the witnesses isn't telling the truth?
But why? Why the dickens would they lie?
I don't know that yet. But what I do know is that if the trial ends at this point, we may never find out. We may never know the real truth. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really let that happen in all good conscience? Excuse me.
Lies, you say? Oh dearie me. I can't abide people telling lies.
Ka-chunk. The scales.
I don't believe it. Wait. Now you hear this, my fellow jurors. I warn you, you cannot listen to this man. Look at him. At this black suit, he's clearly some devious Eastern sorcerer using magic on all of us. I'm racist.
If I could use magic, do you really think I'd be putting myself through all this?
Answer me this, dark jinx.
Huh? Me?
What exactly is the problem? What of it is two witnesses have slightly different recollections of events?
What of it?
Let's say the Shylock did stab the victim as he was sat next to him on the omnibus.
and this young dandy saw him do it. And now let's say the victim collapsed on the floor and then the Shylock stabbed him again. And this old lady saw him do it. Well, what to say, it didn't happen like that, huh? You're a dumbass. You're a freaking dumbass.
Who are you calling a dandy, sir? Why, I should take this knife to you.
Who are you calling old? Why, I should take this nail to you.
Oh, they're all very violent. Very violent people. They are ready to kill each other now. But could the foreman of the jury be right? Did the two witnesses see two different moments of the same crime? It's out of the question. Unfortunately, Mr. Foreman.
What is it, you dog James? Come out of it.
What you're suggesting is impossible. It's out of the question.
What? What are you talking about, man? How can you possibly say that?
You do realize I'm only doing my job. As foreman of the jury, I have a responsibility to steer everyone in the right direction. So where's your evidence, man? That's what we want to see. I say the two witnesses saw different moments of the same crime. If you say that's out of the question, show me proof. It looks like the only way I'm going to convince him is to present him with something he can't dismiss. Some irrefutable hard evidence. It's a wish.
What?
I'll give you the proof. It's out of the question that the two witnesses saw two different moments of the same crime. It's proven by the test autopsy report.
Proceed.
This is the victim's autopsy report. According to what's written here, Mr. Mason was stabbed in the abdomen only once.
Only once?
It's quite simple. The victim was stabbed precisely one time. Which means these witnesses can't possibly have seen it happen two different times. Alright, I can say defeat. Wait, that means 4 jurors are now leaning to not guilty. We've done it, Mr. Naruhodo. We've won! No.
What are you playing at, you dandy fool? Shut your trap, sir. No one deserves me. But we have the consensus. I said shut your trap. I know a lie when I say one. If the chap there ever dares across the threshold of my shop, I'll take this razor sharp blade and shave every last hair of his head. Then don't do that, please. It's disgusting and disturbing and very creepy. Please tell me he's a barber. Well, in a quite remarkable turn of events, the defense submission examination has flipped the balance of the scales of the justice. That's a mouth, quite a mouthful. Balance of the scales of the justice of the. The jurors now stand at 2 for guilty and 4 for not guilty.
I thought everyone had to be unanimously not guilty? Oh, I guess not.
Accordingly, there is no longer a large enough majority among the jury for me to adjudicate, and the trial must continue. I hereby ask the defense, prosecution, and witnesses to return to their places. And I call upon all of you to continue to pursue the truth. So, Lord Von Zix, continue to substantiate the case for the prosecution, if you please.
Stop doing that. Oh my god. Are you gonna drink it? No, you're not. Oh, I see. He's become serious. Having savored the rich aroma of the carmine contents of this hallowed chalice, it may seem crass to crush it to dust. Pray forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Van Zix.
Brr. It is so cold in here, or is it just me? As your antiquated tome of no doubt says, the prosecution may not speak during a submission examination. So I honored a deathly silence and listened to the charade. It seems I overestimated the intelligence of the jury. Well, no matter. There is nothing so hard to prove as a self-evident truth, it would seem. No, and why else would we grace the courtroom with our presence after all? So, let us proceed to the next round of battle. Oh, remove escape. It's serious now. Bring forth the witnesses once more. Alright, we're out of time, unfortunately. This is getting spicy, getting intense. I hope you all enjoyed this playthrough, this episode. Well, alright. And I'll see you next episode very soon. Don't need. Alright? Be patient, be patient. We're gonna find out what's gonna happen. Right? So take care. Stay hopeful, but be critical. Bye-bye.